Okay. All right. I think we should start. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening. My name is Alexander Benkendorf. I love to talk with extremely smart people who are more than gazillion years in tech business in SaaS. And today we have the Lord of SaaS and like my friend Aaron Krall, who is like a mentor for for a lot of people in the SaaS space. He founded a SaaS Growth Hacks community for more than 30,000 people members, and most of them are entrepreneurs, not just people. And he is a coach to hundreds of SaaS and help people earn millions. So Aaron's hello.
Hey
Would you
Alex,
add anything to that list? I know that there's a lot of
you've
things
already
there.
puffed me up so much. I gotta like puff it. I gotta like deflate the balloon a little bit so people don't get too expectations don't get too high. But yeah, all that's right.
Sure. So I, well, as much as I love you, I don't want to focus the whole conversation around this, like just your story, but just a few snippets, maybe. Like if you could show your history in three small, quick scenes, what scenes would they be? Like within maybe the last 10 years or something that brings us to today.
Yeah. I've always graduated in marketing, and so I've always had like a knack for like marketing and advertising and stuff like that. And I started a few different businesses, and then I started a group called SaaS Growth Hacks, and because I realized that software was just like the future of a lot of a really good business model. It's a really, really good business model. And over the past 10 years or so, I've just been engrossed in software. Like I've worked with hundreds of different software companies, founders, big companies, small companies, people who have ideas, people who don't have ideas, and just learned a lot and kind of refined my strategy a little bit, figured out something that has worked, identified like my like niche, um, and discovered kind of like this process that some companies are using that kind of goes against a lot of what you're taught in like some of the
Right.
normal like SaaS world. And I've been doing that for like the past year or so. I refined that. It's been a lot of fun. And so I'm still in SaaS doing that full time and helping SaaS founders launch their micro SaaS businesses.
Yeah, so that is exactly the topic of why I wanted to talk with you today because we met on one of your webinars recently, and I noticed that you switched from that, launch the big SaaS and
Yeah.
transform traffic into leads and, like scale it to infinity to a micro SaaS, which I found extremely interesting because people tend to, like, let's get bigger, let's to sell to bigger companies, let's, send in the thousands per month or something like this. But you did the completely different thing, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And and that's and the topic of the conversation is like we had a conversation around 7 years ago. So I'm really curious what changed in the SaaS world. I think these are the two things. And I want to go into a question. And the question is like, what in 2015 or thereabouts seemed so hard to you that feels like, you know, simple thing today? What like is there a
Oh
thing
man.
that was, 10 years ago was a completely different timeline. Like it was a big bang of SaaS, but nobody knew nothing. So
Yeah, I think when I started, my whole my whole thing was like to try to get as many users for SaaS companies as possible, right? And keep them I mean the normal SaaS model is convince somebody that you can solve their problem, convert
right,
them, get them to sign up and use it, get them to like see the aha moments, activate them, and then retain them for as long as possible, right? And so it's a very, very difficult model to make work because if you're doing like e-commerce, you don't have nobody's paying you monthly for like your toilet paper. You're not paying monthly for your toilet paper. Like you just go and buy
right,
it and it's
right.
like a one-time purchase and you go buy more and more and more, right? So um and so it's a difficult model to make work, but it's very appealing because of like the reoccurring model. So and the idea of passive income and all that which I think some people think, all I need is 500 users and I'll be set for life, right? But what they don't realize is you have to keep those 500,
Churn, churn.
right? And then you have to keep getting more and more because of churn and retention, and the market changes, and then there's competitors that come out. It's just like it's a nonstop battle. So when I started, that's what I was trying to do, is figure out how do we help SaaS companies, bootstrap SaaS companies. Um, how do we help them solve all those metrics, like figure out how to get users and keep them and convert them, and then you have different types of SaaS models, right? Like the enterprise or the high touch SaaS, which is like doing the demos and getting, doing outreach. Then you have to get them on a demo call, and then you have to sell them, and then you have to get like a yearly deal. It's just really, really hard. And I realized, man, I do not like hard. Like I'm lazy in a lot of ways. And because I have ADHD, like I have like this, when I get hyper focused on something, like I dig
Right,
deep, deep, deep,
right.
deep, and I go past where a lot of people would normally go. Like, normally people would get frustrated and be like, I can't figure this out. But
Mm.
for me, the hyperfixation is like, I don't care. Like I just keep going and going and going and going. Like I'll get through the really hard stuff until I become an expert in it, or understand it really, really well. And the more that I got into it, the more I started to see patterns and realized that this normal SaaS model is really, really hard, but there's easier ways to do it that don't really fit the normal SaaS model. It took me 10 years to get there. Like I've been, up until like last year, I was still doing coaching and helping people convert trials and doing onboarding
Right,
sequences and,
right, right, right.
all that kind of stuff. And so finally I realized, hey, there's an easier way to do it, and that doesn't require a lot of those challenges, and makes it a much easier SaaS business to grow and more fun, way more fun.
I want proof. Like, I mean, what exactly, like, can you give examples essentially, because like I know the hard stuff, especially 15 years ago, everything that you're describing. And now you're saying, okay, that like I found an easier way. Can you like describe that or give a few examples, like what
Yeah,
people did?
yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of examples. And I have a library of all these. Compared to how many SaaS companies there are, there's very, very few. But the very few that are doing this model are just like crushing it. And um and people are saying like, hey, this doesn't work, you can't do this. And they're in the background just slowly just making 100,000 a month, um from like a little tiny
Nice.
software company, really really small teams. One of my favorite examples is Designer.
Mm,
Um and the founder of Designer, super smart guy. It's a really good product. It's DESIGNRR, two R's. And if you do a
okay.
little bit of hunting, you'll find that he's doing a lifetime deal for a designer, and it's $27 lifetime. And he's running ads to it. And what he does, and this is where I kind of discovered the model first when I had a conversation with him,
Mm,
is what he's doing is he's using a $27 lifetime offer to this product, and you can create unlimited ebooks from like Google Docs.
sure.
Like it's a software that the innovative part of the software is it just turns a text into like a ebook or whatever, that you can use for lead magnets and all that kind of stuff. But then he has upsells, like, so if you want to add AI, or if you want to add like, hey, turn your audio into a ebook, or upload YouTube videos, or publish your ebook on Amazon, like there's like a clear upsell path. And so he has upsells that, but that are yearly upsells. And
Yeah.
so you can get like you get so what happens is what he's doing is he's running ads to the lifetime deal, and um he's covering his ad costs, and this is what we're doing too, right? So we'll cover our ad costs with a lifetime deal, and we're usually profitable on it, which is kind of wild. Like we see
It's
anywhere from a
wild.
1.5 to 1.8 return on ad spend, right? So
It's
for every
hard to
dollar we
believe.
put in, we get either 20 cents
Wow.
back or 80 cents. For every
Right.
dollar we put in, we get $1.20 back, or $1.80 back, right? And that doesn't include any of like the lifetime deals. Oh no, it does. It usually includes like a lifetime deal, the
Sure.
up for the upsells. And so that's Designer's a great example. You can go find their ads, sign up for it, and see the flow. Um, and it's a really smart business model. And what I did is I kind of innovated on that a little bit. And I realized that instead of coming up with like a really innovative product like Designer, where just something that no one else does, we just take a
Yeah.
product that most people are used to paying monthly for. We add I have four little like levers that we can move around for innovation, to innovate on what's already working, and then we create something that's new and exciting for people. And then it's like we use that same model, and we're getting this very similar results to the Designer. There's another one called Provely, and so these are all companies that are doing this model. And I have I have clients that I'm teaching how to do this, that don't have any SaaS experience at all. They're like non-developers, and I have a mix of non-developers and developers. And what we do is before we build anything, we pre-validate with what I call sales validation, which is
Right.
we get sales for the product before we build anything, and that validates the idea, that you can sell something without a trial. And then we have people that are buying the product without actually trying it. There's not even a product that exists. And then we just refund them right away, and we just use it for validation. But that model has been working really, really well. And it doesn't work with every single SaaS product, and you have to pick the right type of SaaS, and you have to position it the right way. But if you do it, it's much easier. And companies like Designer and Provely, and there's a couple other ones out there too. I can have like a library of them, and they're all doing that, and it's working really, really well. If you once you get the setup right and you pick the right SaaS, it's a really easy, stress-free way to grow a SaaS company.
I, I'm not sure I like the word the like I believe the words easy, stress free, but like I trust you, of course. I believe you that that is very interesting. I think what you're doing is essentially you're like disrupting the SaaS world, because that model that you mentioned, the subscription model, it's a little bit outdated. Everyone is annoyed by having to pay every month.
People are annoyed. Exactly.
That's,
Yeah.
and the solution is like a mind shift, and you taking the existing tools that are still trying to use this monthly model, like draining people, and they're like, oh my god, how many
Mhm.
subscriptions do I have in my card, and
Right.
just don't have 5 minutes to go and cancel them because okay, it's 30 more bucks, whatever, that thing. And you
Yeah. Yeah.
use the same use cases, but this is the new way of thinking about software, which is a mixture of like the old way of thinking, which is like buy once kind of thing, plus the upsells for power users. But and that's a little bit like it's anti what we learned for the 10 years. So it's like
Totally.
an evolutionary revolution of that. Wow,
Totally.
that
Yeah.
sounds interesting. And th does it require a lot of like the validation part essentially? Because what we learned, once again, like as a marketer, as person, like my business is trust business. Like we do trust, long-term B2B relations, and what we usually teach people is do not go into ads unless like you have a budget to validate the market just specifically with ads, because
Hmm.
everything is saturated. The like Google ads, Facebook ads, like you just it takes 3 months for the Facebook AI to to unwind, to just give you some kind of results, and then you like it's a bottomless pit. That's what it feels in
Yeah.
many industries, right? Like how
Totally.
can you comment on that validation practice? Because validating a product as a new SaaS product with Google, with Facebook, it sounds well, like crazy to me at the point.
It's
How
crazy,
do
and it's really scary. It's really scary because there's a lot
you
of um there's a lot of kind of like baggage when it comes to Facebook ads. People spend a lot of money. I mean, I talk to founders who are doing like 3,000 a month in ads, and
and
they're
it's
not getting
gone.
any results. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's it's gone. We know we need to do it, and we're just
yeah,
spending it. It's like we don't know what else to do, right? Like, and maybe they get a couple of leads, and people are very, very afraid of that, especially bootstrap, right? You don't have
sure.
$100,000 in the bank to like test and validate, right? So, but the cool thing about this model is if I'm gonna draw a parallel between like my model and applying that to like a car dealership, right? If a Tesla costs like maybe that's not the right car type of car to use. If a Rolls Royce costs
Mm,
like $100,000 new, right? And you know that people are buying them, and you can sell Rolls Royces for 50,000.
right.
You don't need to validate the market. There's no,
Mm,
I mean,
okay.
there's no validation needed, right? Because you know people are buying Rolls Royces. All you need to
That's
do is get your Rolls
dirty
Royce in front of
tactic.
the people that are buying. Right. Like,
Race
yeah,
to
like
the
you don't need
bottom.
to be a
Race to the
genius
bottom.
marketer. You don't need to be a
Yeah,
genius
I get it.
marketer
Good.
or advertiser to sell $100,000 car for 50,000,
Right.
right? You just need to get it in front of as many people as possible, right? Especially if you can make a, and if you're buying them for 25,000, right? You can advertise all day long and you know you're going to get buyers. That's the beauty of having a really good offer or an irresistible offer. People throw that term around a lot, like, oh, it's irresistible offer. But the irresistible offer in SaaS is instead of paying Typeform $99 a month, my product is one payment of 27 or 47 or 67, and you get everything you get with Typeform, and
Right.
you can cancel it. And if you don't need it now, you can use it in 6 months when you need it, but you don't need to keep paying for it, right? So you're getting a lot of, it's an impulse buy, but it's also capturing a part of the market that can't justify paying $99 a month for Typeform, or who's tired of using Google Forms because it doesn't have the it's a free product, but it doesn't do what they want, right? So
Yeah.
um, it's really, really easy. When we say validated, usually we have two different types of validations. Demand validation, like is there a demand for it? And then
Yeah.
sales validation. So can we actually get
Right.
sales without building the product? That's what sales validation is. When we do sales validation, it's can we sell something that does not exist yet?
Mm,
And can we do it at a profit? If we put $100 in, can we get $100 back, or 120, 150, 180, right? That is sales validation. Once we do that, then the green light goes off and we can build a product because we know that we can sell it. If we can sell it without having a product, we know we can sell it with a product, right?
what
So
do you tell people who bought it? That you're do you return the money or do you
we
tell them
we
to
say,
wait?
yeah, basically we say, hey, listen, thank you so much for buying. Um, uh, we uh, we have some good news and some bad news. The good news is, or the bad news is, we're still in development. The product is not ready to use yet. The good news is, if you if you if you become one of the founding members, we'll keep your money and we'll upgrade you to any of the future plans that we have that we'll actually charge people for. We'll give you full access to them for free forever, or we'll refund your money. And even if you refund us, we will still give you the lifetime license that you bought from
Okay.
us. We'll still give you
Oh,
access. Like
that's
we
pretty
make them
ethical.
feel we make them feel really good. Like, oh man, I'm totally bummed, but I mean, I get a free software. Like that's pretty amazing. And we just add them to the list, and then when we launch it, we give it to them for free.
So you touched the question, like the question of the offer, how you validate by creating sales before you build a product. And now, like to the question of probably the conversions and the trust. Why would people like if let's say Typeform, it's a great example. It's a relatively not a very like doesn't seem like a very complex product, but the basis of it. Um, but people try like okay, like these people it's a fully fledged product. It's not like a one day, like would the service die the next day? So it's the question of trust, essentially, as I see it. And when people commit to like even an impulse buy in a market where people like are looking for security and like not really not as excited about growth, they're more just trying to not lose their money every month or something like this. So how do they end up trusting? Like what do you feel works? Because if you see and we're also closing to the topic of it's really easy to build a product right now. It's really hard to to sell it
Yeah,
or to validate, find it.
exactly.
So and
Yeah.
this is what I see as a user. Like you can show me a million products and I know like you buggers, like there is a billion products being built right now. Like why would I trust like this one? It's all AI generated and lovable, like using one button or something like this. How do you feel this is the right moment to do this? And how do you feel that you can get enough trust with even a new micro SaaS using this method? I mean,
Um,
like actually trying, but like what's good enough? in that sense. Like you need to show we had already 100,000 buyers who are like 5 stars on all everything. That's one thing, but then it's brand new. How?
Yeah, we don't do any of that. We don't have testimonials. We don't
Right.
make up testimonials. We
Right.
don't have users. We have zero users. The product doesn't exist yet. We have no reviews on Product Hunt, and we're still getting sales from people.
The
And
offer is
we have
that good.
people, and here's what's wild. I have one client um ran the lifetime deal, and then he had somebody reach out and say, "Hey, I just got your lifetime deal, but I want to upgrade to unlimited. What is the cost for that?" And the product did not exist yet. There was no trial. The guy did not have anything to log into. He just he just wanted unlimited. And it's wild. It's crazy. And here's the thing, because I was thinking about the old time, adage, people buy from those that they know, like, and trust,
But yeah,
right? Nobody knows us, zero trust.
exactly.
Um, there's no reason for them to like us, right? So how are we doing this? How are you selling something that doesn't exist yet? And the
Jobs
reason
to be done,
is,
baby.
what was that?
Jobs to be done, baby.
It's jobs to be done. That's one of the huge things. We don't need to educate the market on why they need our product. We're just saying you already want to buy a Rolls Royce and you can't afford it. How would you
Mm,
like to own a Rolls Royce for 90% off? And it's at a
mm,
price point where these people are like, even if this doesn't work, I'm not out a lot of money.
yeah.
It's almost like if you scale it down a little bit to like grocery store stuff, right? Like if you're going through the grocery aisle and you see a new candy bar and
Right.
it's made by a company you never heard of, like Mr. Beast, and
Okay. You've heard of Mr.
you
Beast,
see a
but
new candy
okay.
bar, it says the world's
Sure.
number one candy bar, and it's like 20 cents and everything else is $6. And it says on the package, it says made from fresh ingredients, um, only seven ingredients,
Sugar
right?
free.
Uh,
Sugar free.
sugar free, no chalky aftertaste, right? Doesn't
Okay.
melt in your pocket. You're gonna be like, oh well, I guess I'll try this 20-cent candy bar. I mean, like I could spend $5 on the Hershey's, but this one looks really good, right? You don't need to have all of the things you think you need to have if you just come in and solve the biggest problems around the job to be done that they're doing now, what they don't like about the job to be done they're doing now. And if you give it at a price point where it's very risk, where it's very low risk, right?
Mm,
And then we also include limited time on the offer, like, because we don't know when it's going to end. There is a point at which you might decide we are going to start charging monthly for this product because we're at 100K a month MRR. We
yeah.
want to sell, we want to transition to something that maybe investors are more interested in or whatever, right? So you could end it at any time. So there's also that scarcity. Um, and that's a very, very powerful combination of getting you
Easy
being able to
entry.
buy something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you being able to buy something that you already want that solves the problems around what you don't like about how you're solving it now that may not be around forever. It's just a very, very psychologically powerful combination of, like, offer and sales marketing. It and it's and it, When I say easy, that's what I mean by easy, is that you don't have to promise some huge outcome. You don't have to be Russell Brunson. You don't have to say you're one funnel away from $1 million business.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to say get 10 new clients a month or save 20 hours a week. You just say, hey, do you want to do this job? You want to build forms? Well, build forms with us. We won't charge you monthly. And here are the great things you're going to love about building forms with us.
Interesting. How long do you think this will last? Like we did talk, like just the statement I made. It's so easy to build products right now. It's extremely hard to get audience right now. Uh because like because it's so the barrier of entry has lowered.
Yeah.
So do you think this model, and we're talking not just about like a specific product, maybe as a concept of a model of a funnel of a business like business type like business model will last? Do you think it is a window of opportunity that will close real soon, or do you think it's just on the rise? And I can give an example of these monthly recurring productized design agencies, and I've tried this model, and it didn't work for us. Like we ended up
Yeah.
just being working on like building systems for the design systems for our clients, not as a subscription. That that feels like it went up and down. So what about
Yeah.
your model? Do you think, what do you think about it?
Well, we're not in the software business. We're not in the MRR business. We're not in the product business. We're not in the this productized service business. We're in the problem solving business,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And if and SaaS is the tool to solve a problem, right? I think at some point there's going to be the big thing is going to be AI agents that perform jobs for you. And but the result is the same. It's doing something that people don't like doing and saving them time, energy, and effort and doing it better than they could themselves and cheaper than they could if they did it themselves or hired someone else. Um, so it's possible that in a few years there's going to be the medium changes, but the way that the product is sold, I mean, think about how many years we've been paying monthly for products, right?
Oh yeah,
Years and years and years, and
I'm still
there's a
paying.
lot of
I'm still paying.
yeah,
All of us
yeah,
are.
yeah. And I think that there is going to be a shift um in how people, just because of how the economy is going. I mean, I'm based in the US and we have it's just wild with what's going on right now. Like I mean, I'm not going to get political or anything, but like there's a lot of people that are very upset. There's millennials who are scraping by,
Oh
and
yeah.
there is just a massive shift in how people spend their money and saving their money. And so, and everybody loves a good deal. That is never going to stop going around, stop. And the perceived value of a SaaS product is really, really high. I think in a few years, AI agents are going to be all over the place. People are going to understand what it is. Right now, I wouldn't do it because it's so hard to sell an AI agent. You have to overcome so many
Oh yeah.
barriers. And that's why I
Oh
say
yeah.
when I'm with Micro SaaS, don't create something that's so new and exciting and different and innovative that you have to educate the market on why they need it. That's not a Micro SaaS. That's you're going to be in the education business for years and years until people realize, it's safe to use this. I can use it. I want it. So we go into a market where they're already product aware, where they already know, I already know I need to build a website. You don't need to sell me on like why I need to build a website. I just need to build a website that's easy, that will, that's it's easy for me to do it. I don't want to pay monthly. And so we just create an offer that just goes against what the typical industry is doing, and it's disruptive. But at some point, let's say everybody at some point does lifetime deals,
Right.
right? At some point, there's like everybody's doing, which I don't think will happen. I don't think that'll ever happen. Everybody's
Mm.
doing lifetime deals. Everybody moved from a monthly. Then we'll figure out what to do from there, right? Tally did something really unique. They offered their tool for free. Absolutely,
Yeah.
everything was free, but they charged 5% on credit card transactions, and that was a significant part of their revenue. And you don't feel like you're paying for it because it comes out of the money that you're getting
And it's
from
a form
Tally.
builder, as far as I understand.
And it's a form builder, but it also is like a checkout thing too. Like you can put
Yeah.
credit cards in, and so you can connect
Yeah.
your Stripe
So
account. They charge an extra 5%. You're like, I'm paying 5% to collect money, and I'm only paying if I get money. That's a different like positioning statement, right?
is this
It's
on
easier
top
to
of Stripe?
justify that.
Or
It was
is
on
it on
top of
top of?
Stripe.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Got
yeah.
it.
And then upgrade to 79 a month. You don't have to pay the subscription. That
Mm.
was the big difference. You don't have to, and then you get white label API and more advanced features. So there's plenty of ways to monetize something that doesn't include people paying you monthly for, right? And I think the pay per use model I think is really smart, but I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if we look at like the principles of like a good offer, and we give something the market is there's demand for, and that's a really good offer, like you're always going to be doing okay.
Mm. I'm Um, all of the things you mentioned and like the trends, like why now? It really sounds right. But on the other side of the spectrum, we had platforms like AppSumo with lifetime deals. They were not invented yesterday, and paying for pay as you go and paying for volume, like on transaction volume. These are not new. So why do you think what you are doing is a little bit more relevant as just putting your thing on platforms like AppSumo? And like, is there anything new in that sense? Maybe the combination of a few things that you mentioned. um yeah, so that could be the first
Yeah.
part of my question.
Um, let me tell you kind of a little story.
Sure.
Are you familiar with Costco in the United States?
Bit.
Costco. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Costco is like this warehouse where very unique model. You have to pay yearly to get access to Costco. You
Yep.
can only enter with a membership card. And then you get access to like bulk stuff, right?
Yep.
So um Costco is just so smart in a lot of things that they do. But one of the things they do is in the back of their store, they have rotisserie chickens that are like $5 for a fresh rotisserie chicken right off the grill, and it's really good. They have that at the back of the store, right?
So you
Um,
have to walk all the way.
you have to walk all the way back, right? There's so many things that they do right. Costco has spent hundreds of millions of dollars setting up their own chicken farms.
Right.
They do not source their chicken from other people. They run their own chicken farms. They have control over the food that they feed the chickens, how much they pay for the land, who harvests all that stuff. I don't really know anything about harvesting. Probably is the right word for chicken. I don't know. Whatever they do, put the
Growing.
chickens through the thing. They have their own supply chain because they get
Right.
so that they reduce the cost of the chickens to the point, and they're losing money, and they're losing money on the chickens. They're
Okay, of
losing
course.
money.
Right.
Every time they sell a $5 chicken, they lose money. Every time they sell a $1.50 hot dog, they're losing money.
Of
They're
course.
not making money on those things. The secret behind the strategy is, can you guess? Can you guess what the secret is? Why they're doing that?
Well, to attract people, of course, like it's the ABC metrics, as
Yeah,
far
yeah,
as I
you
know.
attract
It's
people, right?
Yeah,
Right. So you
so that
attract
people sell
people.
on the other things that they take along the way, like
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
the regular ones and the premium ones where you get the earnings. Yeah, of course. So
Yeah.
what does it have to do with SaaS?
So Costco is not making money on these
Right,
chickens and these hot dogs. They are making this is what is called a front end offer.
right.
And auto repair places do this too. They say we'll come and we'll replace your windshield for free, or we'll fix
Yeah,
the crack in your windshield for free,
yeah,
right? And they're not making money on that. They're losing money, but they know that their money is not going to be made on the front end. It's made on the back end, like an iceberg.
sure.
So you have the iceberg, which is like this $27 deal, and you're using the chickens to bring in as much people into your store as possible,
Yeah,
but then they pay a membership subscription to get into, and then they end up passing something they need on the way there and they buy it. And then they, because they're paying a yearly subscription, they're coming back because they have to
yeah,
justify it,
of course.
right? And so, well, let's go get a $5 chicken. Feel like we're getting a really good deal on the chicken. That's a really good deal. Um, and then they end up spending a lot more money. So if somebody if Costco closed down their whole business and just did rotisserie chickens and at no profit, they would be bankrupt in a couple of
They're
weeks,
not in the chicken
right?
business.
They're not in the
Yeah,
chicken business. And we're not in the software business. We're in the problem solving business. And so we use this
right.
really good deal as a way to cover our ad spend, reach hundreds of people a day. And we know that a percentage of people are going to upgrade to a higher paying plan. We know that people are going to share this on Reddit. They're going to say, "Hey, don't pay Typeform. There's a
Yeah,
lifetime deal right now for this."
right.
They know that they're going to attract tons and tons and tons of people. And even if we don't break even on the ads, even if we're at like a 75% return on ad spend, even if we put in $100 or $1 and only make 75 cents back, we know that on the back end we are going to create
To win.
more revenue. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so there's a book that I have on my bookshelf by Mark Joyner, and I think it's called Think One Product Ahead, I think is the name of the
Mm,
book. And the whole thing about this is like um your business, uh the business that you start should always have a back end to it. And the
mm,
problem with most SaaS companies is once you buy the widget and you're paying monthly, there's no way to move up. Like
yep.
there is a way to move up, but you have to have more success with the product. There's all these things that you need to have in place in order for you to upgrade, and only a certain amount of people are going to do that, right? But if you provide somebody that with a $27 offer, $47 offer for 1,000 Forbes submissions a month, and then when they check out, there's a button that says, "Hey, get unlimited for 97,"
Right.
right? You are making money on that upsell, not the front end product, and that's what people don't realize. I mean, there are SaaS companies out there who have thousands and thousands and thousands of buyers who are paying for their software, and they're not doing anything with them. They're not offering other products. They're not saying, "Hey, check out this guide that we found that'll help you do this." They're not saying, "Hey, if you want it,
Yeah.
if you're paying for ad management, here's a software that helps you actually create the ads, right? We got you a deal." Right? They're not leveraging any of that stuff because they think the money's on the front end, and that's the biggest mistake in this.
Mm,
And that's the biggest mindset shift too. Is like if you know you can lose money on the front end and create such a amazing deal and offer that people are like, "How are you possibly doing this?" Um, and you have a back end where the numbers, you know your numbers, and like if 10 people buy this, we know there's a 30% take rate on the upsell. You can work backwards and be like, how much can we spend? And when you get it right, you have a scalable machine, right? And you can always have other stuff to charge. Like even if you did form building, you could have another offer that's like, let us build your forms for you for
sure.
$5,000. Um, Dan Kennedy is brilliant at this. He just says, just keep adding stuff,
Yeah.
keep adding stuff, and somebody will buy it. And if not, it's not a no skin off your back, right? If you have a service that's like, "Hey, we'll build your form for you for $1,000," and nobody buys it, it's like, all right, well, nobody bought it. We didn't have to deliver anything, right? But if people do, then oh man, this is something that people want to buy, right? You're just solving their problems better, faster, with less effort from on their part. And there's always a certain percentage of people that will buy some of these things, you know. Um, and so that's what's
And you can
magical about
them
this whole process.
like once people paid you $27, you can reach out and talk to them. Like, what other problems do you have?
Yes,
Like
they
how
have a credit card.
yeah,
They bought. A buyer is worth so much more than a trial or a freemium
yeah.
user.
Interesting. It's turning some of the things on its tails because I've been talking to a few SaaS founders and they're like, "Oh my God, I hate the lifetime deal buyers." They literally hate them because they're so
Yeah.
demanding. They want more. Like
Yes.
we have to support the service, and they're like, "Oh my God, I don't like the lifetime deals." But you are like framing it in a completely different way. Like
Well,
how
can
you
I
build it
can I speak to
for
that really quick? So
first.
so AppSumo, I have nothing against AppSumo. I buy AppSumo deals all the time, right?
Why do?
I'm not saying they're
Yeah.
bad. I'm not saying it's a
Yep.
waste of money. All I'm saying is in this model, we don't go into a market who's used to paying or wants a lifetime deal. They're already paying monthly for whatever tool that you're approaching them with. So
Oh,
they're a market who's like they're a market who says who's not used to getting lifetime deals,
oh, okay.
right?
That's interesting.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So with AppSumo, there's no back end with AppSumo. That's the big thing about doing AppSumo is if you go and do a deal with AppSumo, you may get 5,000 buyers, but number one, they take 60% of the revenue. And number two,
I know.
none of these buyers are going to upgrade because they're already used to getting lifetime. They're already
Sure.
preconditioned to kind of negotiate with the founder, right? But if you go into a market where they're already paying $200 a month for a product, you say, "Hey, get this product for 47 or 67 or 97." They're like, "Oh yeah,
Fine.
that's amazing. That's great. I'll totally
Sounds
do that." And
convenient.
they love you for it. It's a totally
Mm.
different like market. Um, and that's one of the things we look for is like when we go into a market, are these people used to paying, you know, uh, monthly? And if they are, that's like one of the check marks that we look for is in validation is Another one is going into a market where people there's a high demand for the product, but in order to buy it, you need to go through a sales call or some kind of
Oh yeah,
demo. We just remove
true.
all that friction and say, hey, you want to do this? Like one of the SaaS ideas that I have on my list is like a client portal type thing, right, for agencies, where you create a
Yeah,
client portal, you upload all the documents, there's tasks and chat. A lot of these client portal companies, they make you go through a demo process, and
yeah.
they charge you $200, $300 a month, and there's a sales workflow. So if you just enter the market and say, hey, get all this stuff without doing that, and it's a one-time offer, they're like, oh, totally, yeah, we'll do it. And then they have no problem paying additional money because they're already used to paying additional money. You know what I mean?
And
But they're
and
paying
they are
much,
also
much
grateful.
less.
Like I would say that they
And they're
have a certain,
grateful.
they
Yes.
felt that they had this difference in value to what they gotten. Like some of them, especially those for whom this money is not a huge issue, that they are used to paying $100 a month. And I really love and want to like reiterate, because I'm working in service businesses and I do strategic sessions with the B2B companies, and a lot of the insights are coming on the last part of the customer journey that we're looking at. And I call it delight
Mm.
side of things. Like they're looking at, oh, how do I attract the customer? How do I sell? How do I, like get them to converse? But we're also looking at the end of the lifetime value, like not the client acquisition cost, but what are you using? And a lot of service-based companies are massively overutilizing sales and underutilizing accounting and or customer success, which
Oh,
is that
totally.
like what value, what problems do they have, and how we can, let's give you something that you maybe even didn't know you wanted.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like on the right side of the spectrum, to also create that massive value difference at the end of the journey, so they return over and over again. And you, in the current, like in current economy, you cannot make like a direct. It's really hard to make a direct sale work profitably because of that. But if you're looking into a longer game, if you're there, like that's why I prefer to work with people who are not just quick buck, but are looking at least a year
Yeah.
ahead. Then like, oh, okay, then we can do this and that, and this is how we can help and serve them essentially, so that they return and ask for more, and they feel gratitude in the process. So this is like a similar approach with Micro SaaS, which is also interesting. And you are not annoying, which is also interesting because like
You're not
constant
annoying.
upsell,
Yeah.
like you're just trying to, be useful. So another question, like, how do you validate the product before you go in on Facebook? Because not, as you said, not all products could be that. And of course, like a lot of SaaS idea, like how do you initially judge the SaaS idea? For example, I would come to you today and I said, Aaron, like I have a certain SaaS idea. How do you understand whether that is worth investing, let's say several $1,000s on Facebook
Yeah.
ads to just try, or not? Like what, maybe you can walk me through the question ladder that I want to have before even thinking about this direction.
Yeah. 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 So I don't have like my checklist here. Like you can get the checklist at SaaS in a weekend, but basically there's a few things. One is we want to enter a product aware market. So we know that it's a market that people are aware of the job they need to get done, and they're already paying for a solution to do it, right? So one I was just thinking of was like a help desk,
Mm.
right? A little bit, it's not as broad as I typically like, but there's thousands and thousands of companies out there who need a help desk. They're tired of
Oh
paying
yeah.
monthly just to host some articles, right?
Oh, they're already
Um,
paying monthly, right?
they're already paying monthly for it, right? Like Help Scout or whatever. And what happens is a lot of these companies like Help Scout and Intercom, they start off providing a service, but in order to grow, they have to start adding more and more features to justify the cost, right? And they move up market, but the product becomes more and more complicated.
Yeah,
So
they because
so you it just becomes like so hard to use. People are like, I don't need all this stuff. I just need a help desk, or I don't need chat. I don't need AI. I don't need this. I don't need, but developers and teams think in order to increase our revenue, we need to include more features, which is we advise against. That's the exact opposite of what we do in SaaS in the weekend. But first of all, you just look at is there a demand for the product? You just go to Capterra and just look for stuff, products that are selling. Uh, you listen to ads. Are there people advertising for it? You look at revenue. Are they over, 100 million a year? Are there more than like five competitors that are doing over 100 million? Isn't and is does That's one thing. The second thing is that if they are they product aware? So is it like is the audience already aware that they need it? Is the market growing? So is it not like some kind of fad where like the market will slowly go down? It's like
Yeah.
everybody's going to need
Yeah.
to create a website, right? People are always going to need to create a website, at least for the foreseeable future. So like if you went into the website market and did $47 one time and create unlimited websites and landing pages, I don't need to sell you on that. Like you would just be like, well, yeah, let me look at the product. Let me see what you guys do. Is it decent? And if it is, I'm willing to risk $47 to never have to pay Squarespace, $100 a month, right? Um, but there's also a few other things. One is you can't rely really heavily on third parties because that increases your infrastructure costs. You have to have low infrastructure costs. So if it relies
AI
on
wrapper.
AI,
Yeah.
yeah, if it relies on AI, if there's hard costs that increment that go up as your user base goes up, what you want is your infrastructure costs to stay here, and as your users go up, this goes up slowly,
Mm,
not at the same time, right?
mm.
Um, we want to go into a market uh, and solve a job to be done that we understand and know. You don't want to
Yep.
go into solve a job to be like I wouldn't do like like an accounting software because I don't understand anything about accounting. So I wouldn't, even though there's might be a demand for it and it's like $1 million a month business, like it just wouldn't excite me, right? So you got to be excited about it, right? Um, and so if you go after a market that's growing, it's a job to be done that people understand. You can explain it in one sentence. You don't need to
Right.
like explain. If there's companies that are already in the market that are doing 10, 20, 100 million a year, you know that the market has been validated and that it's a product worth going after. Um, and I mean those are probably like some of the main things. And there's a few other ones that you got to watch out for, but that's what I call like demand validation. We've already proven there's demand. Then we need to have sales validation, which usually is pretty easy to validate with sales if you kind of build a landing page right and you have all that stuff, kind of the right copy and how you explain the product and all that.
Wow. Thanks for explaining all of that. That all sounds very exciting, and I'm, I think we're wrapping up our today's conversation. And to do this, I would just to let's finalize with a little bit of Aaron here. Like, what are you personally curious or excited about in the SaaS world today? What on maybe how you see your own role in all of that? Like, what would make you happy uh, right now? Like, what do you think is around the corner for you?
Um, you know, uh, I love working with SaaS founders. Like that's a market it's a group of people I love. I've always loved working with them. I'm so lucky to have found a group of people that I relate to and that I think have immense creativity and energy and they're entrepreneurial. But I hate watching people build products that are hard to sell or that people don't need. And that
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times. I've seen so many people try to build products that they think people need, that are innovative, they can't sell them, or go into a market that's really competitive and try to compete on price. And they're really, really good products, but they just don't have the VC and the money to like educate the world. And so I want to help at, 1,000 companies in the next year that are have great products. I want to help them scale and grow easily and sell or get an investment if they want it, or sell to somebody else, or just have a business that they love working in where they don't need to worry about all the stuff that they hate, like the marketing side and the sales and demos and trial conversions and retention and churn. There's just so many different things that you have, worry about when you're growing a SaaS company. And this model relieves a lot. I want to find who they
Hmm.
are and I want to show them this model and help them grow. That would be amazing.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Aaron. I think we'll
You're
end
welcome.
here. I appreciate sharing all the knowledge. I think it's very exciting to people who thought about starting something and that gives a lot of focus to what exactly they need to be looking, and they need to be looking at you and on what you do as well in the first place. So thanks a lot
My pleasure.
being here
Yeah, thanks for
today.
having me, dude. All right,
Bye
see you
bye.
guys.
Okay, thanks.